We were at the opening night of Halloween Horror Nights and wanted to give you a look at the scare zones and where they are located. We also had several questions about Stay and Scream and Scream Early, so we're going to tell you exactly what these are and how you can use them to your advantage, and if you need a park ticket to use them. Opening night of HHN was, well, a wet one. The opening ceremony got rained out, but they still played the audio of Dr. Oddfellow welcoming guests in.
Horror Nights. I am Dr. Oddfellow. I've been watching you. For years I've seen you shaking in fear.
The first several hours was a buzz for the scare zones because the scare actors won't come out when it's raining hard. They eventually did come out when it was only drizzling a little bit. Let's talk about the scare zones. There are 5 scare zones, and I like them all this year. All the scare zones are themed around this Dr. Oddfellow, and they tell a story. I would recommend reading up on them or listening to the HHN podcast stories before going. You'll get the full experience if you know what the storyline's all about. I wouldn't say that the scare zones are terrifying, but they do have some good startle scares in them. When you first come into the park, you will find the very first scare zone. That's Dr. Oddfellow's collection of horror. This is where he will lure you into Halloween Horror Nights with a promise of immortality. Soon you'll realize that you just may not survive the night. This is the area where Dr. Oddfellow himself will be walking around. So if you want to see Dr. Oddfellow, this is the place to do that. If you turn right past the Today Cafe and go straight, you will run into the dark Zodiac. This is where Dr. Oddfellow has harnessed the power of the Zodiac to live forever. He has turned the signs into malevolent beings who foretell your doom. If you want scary, this is probably the darkest and scariest zone of them all. This is where the chainsaw actors are, and they have some creepy guys here too. It's also the second largest scare zone to walk through. If you don't want to walk through this, but still want to see it, there's a little hack here. You can walk on the sidewalk next to the building. Now, I'm not saying that you will be perfectly safe from all the scare actors, but they do typically stay in the streets and don't go to the sidewalks very often. From here, if you keep going straight past the horror makeup show, you will find the next scare zone, the Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror. This is in the 1920s. Dr. Oddfellow ventured into the jungle performing horrific experiments on nature. Now his creations are coming after you. This is probably the second scariest zone because of the fog that they use and how close the actors are. This isn't much of an open area here, so you're funneled through this with some pretty dense fog effects. You can even come up face to face with scare actors and not see them coming. This is a fairly short zone, so if you walk fast, you can get through this area pretty quickly. You'll have to walk all the way around the lagoon area for the next scare zone that is located at the exit of the Fast and Furious ride, the Shipyard 32 Horrors Unhinged. This is where you enter into the 1940 San Francisco shipping yard, and it's full of mysterious crates and cages. But beware, Dr. Oddfellow's nightmarish odysseys lie within. Some of Dr. Oddfellow's odysseys have escaped and are waiting for you to walk through. This is the shortest scare zone and one with the fewest scare actors. There were some really neat costumes and set designs here. You could easily walk through this pretty quickly. I would recommend going slowly though and seeing some of these costumes and scare actors. It was fairly neat even for such a small scare zone. The final scare zone, and the largest one, is located in the New York area, Vamp 69 Summer of Blood. At a music fest in a small New York town, you'll jam with concert goers until Dr. Oddfellow unleashes bloodthirsty vampires on the crowd. This is probably my favorite scare zone of the event. The actors did a fantastic job, from vampires to screaming victims. It really brought the zone to life. In a way, this zone can be terrifying too, mainly because the scare actors blend in so well with the crowd, and you don't realize it's an actor until they're lunging at you. I think they did an excellent job with the scare zones this year, and even if you don't like the houses, you can still have a great time walking around the scare zones and sampling all the themed food HHN has to offer. Just being in this environment was a great experience. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Stay and Scream and Scream Early. What exactly is this and how do you get it? One thing that seems to be very confusing to HHN newbies is the Stay and Scream Early. Let's talk about these and hopefully clear up some confusion. Stay and Scream is just Universal's name for the holding areas they put guests in while they close the park to regular daytime guests and transform it for HHN. It's their way of rounding up everyone who has a park ticket for the day and also had an HHN ticket and putting them into a holding areas to wait for the event to start. There is usually about an hour between the time the park closes and the time HHN officially starts. Stay and Scream is a great way to get in line for the houses before the general public is let in. Some of the houses open early for those doing Stay and Scream. This is a good way to see more houses in a shorter amount of time with less wait time. This is a great benefit, especially for those who don't have an express pass for the houses. So the way this works is you scan your HHN ticket to get let into the Stay and Scream area. Some areas are just lines like the one up by Today Cafe. Others are a combination of holding areas and house lines like the one over by New York. Now we'll discuss the different areas and what they are associated with in just a minute. The combination areas like the New York area, you can roam around and have a little more freedom. You can get a drink, a snack, use the bathroom, whatever you want in this area, but you cannot leave that holding area once you are scanned in. If you want early access to one of the houses, you will have to get in line that is associated with the holding area that you are in. Once you are in that line, you cannot leave or you will forfeit your spot in the line. So make sure that you've used the bathroom and got a drink and whatever you need to do before getting in that line. If you are in a popular area like the New York area, I would recommend getting into the house line as soon as you can. This will ensure that you get through that house quickly so you can get to another house even faster, giving you a chance to see more houses before the general public gets let in. If you don't have a park ticket for the day, but would like a chance to experience the park for a short amount of time before HHN, and then be a part of the Stay and Scream holding areas for early access to HHN, you can buy an add-on to your HHN ticket that is called Scream Early. With Scream Early, you get access to the park starting at 3 p.m. You have to arrive between 3 and 5 p.m. to access this. If you arrive after 5, you chance forfeiting your ticket and have to wait in a regular line. If you have a park ticket for that day, you should be in the park somewhere between 4 and 4:30 to ensure that you get a good spot in line. They try to open the Stay and Scream areas somewhere between 4 and 4:30, so if you want one of the popular areas, be sure to be in that line by then. If you have a park ticket for the same day that you have an HHN ticket or an annual pass, you do not need to purchase a Scream Early ticket. Just be in the park before 5 to access the Stay and Scream areas. Annual pass holders who have free HHN tickets do not need to purchase a separate ticket. Just be in the park before 5. Just make sure that your free ticket is not blacked out on the date that you want to go. For a list of these blackout dates, go to Universal's website. There are several Stay and Scream areas, so let's go over those right quick and what they have benefits for. The Central Park and Springfield areas combine for one Stay and Scream zone. It corresponds with 2 haunted houses, The Last of Us and Universal's Monsters Unmasked. So if those houses are important to you, this is the area that you want to be in. The New York Stay and Scream section is located near the Finnegan's Bar and Grill, and it corresponds with Stranger Things 4, The Exorcist, Believer, and Dueling Dragons. Choose thy fate. This is the most popular Stay and Scream area, so if you want this one, get in line as soon as they open. I would plan on around 4 to 4:30, probably closer to 4, but you can always ask a team member to make sure. Another Stay and Scream location is near Rickard's Burger Company in the San Francisco themed area. This Stay and Scream corresponds with Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. There's also a Stay and Scream area located at the Today Cafe. This is not for any houses, but will help you get a chance to see the opening ceremony before the event starts. Unless, like in my case, it's raining and then they don't do it at all and you wasted your time up front. The issue with this spot is you really can't see much. Even if they were able to do the opening ceremony, they put you inside the cafe area out and around the patio or inside itself and don't let you go out into the street. The scaffolding where the actor is up high and the trees and the umbrellas is from the Today Cafe, they kind of block your view and you really can't see much. I'm sure if they had actors in the streets that you would be able to see them very well coming up, but I'm not sure, being that it was the first night. I don't know what the opening ceremony looked like, but they did play the soundtrack or the audio of Dr. Oddfellow, so we did get to hear that at least. Out of all of the Stay and Scream areas, the most popular ones, of course, are the New York and the Springfield locations. These two provide access to the most popular houses, so if you are unsure where to go, consider one of these two if you're wanting to see some of the popular houses before the lines get very long. I really enjoyed HHN this year. The houses were great, the scare zones were fantastic, as they are every year. The themed food was really good too. I tried the walking taco that's over by Cafe La Bamba. This is a really popular dish, so be prepared to wait in line if you want to get one. When it comes to HHN, I think everyone should experience it at least once. There is so much more to this than just being scared in haunted houses. This is like nothing you have ever experienced, and it is so much fun. Just go, try it out, you will see what I mean. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take just a second and hit that subscribe button. It's free to do and it really helps us out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next adventure.